The video I just watched is absolutely horrifying. There is footage circulating on social media right now of a young Black pregnant mother in active labor arriving to an emergency department, and instead of receiving urgent, compassionate care, the triage nurse appears to be more focused on completing paperwork than focusing on the human life right in front of her. It appears she doesn't visibly check her, no fetal monitoring, no stabilization, instead forms in a mother that is in active labor. This is a medical emergency, and in that moment, she appears to be completely ignored. No empathy, no humanity, just cold, and that is completely unacceptable. My heart goes out to that mother. I hope with all my being that she and her baby are okay, because we as healthcare workers, we should be the ones that embody light, hope, compassion, humanity, but in this case, all of that was missing. And here's the hard truth. This is not an isolated incident. Black women in the United States are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women. 3 times. If you saw that video and if what you witnessed is an obvious display of discrimination and you felt your blood boil, you are not alone, because I am fired up too. Because this is entirely preventable. And as caregivers and as healers, we must demand better from ourselves and from our system. And to that young mother, I truly hope you're okay. I hope someone stepped in. I hope you were heard, and I hope you were seen. To my fellow healthcare workers, we need to do better. We must show up. We must listen. We must take action, because every mother deserves dignity. Every baby deserves life, and every patient deserves humanity.
You know, every time I think about the medical system and what Black women go through, I feel this mix of anger, sadness, and honestly, exhaustion, because it keeps happening. And no matter how many stories we hear, it never gets easier to process. And what happened recently in Texas with that young Black woman who walked into the ER in labor, begging for help while a nurse moved slow, acted annoyed, and took her sweet time, only for that woman to give birth 12 minutes later, it hit me hard. Not because it was shocking, but because it wasn't shocking at all. And that's the part that really sits heavy. Just imagine being in that level of pain, active labor, contractions taking your breath away, your body literally pushing a baby out whether you're ready or not. And the one person standing between you and disaster is looking at you like you're an inconvenience, not comforting you or moving with urgency, just acting like you're exaggerating. And the sad thing is, every Black woman who heard that story understood it in a way nobody else really can. You don't need to have kids to understand it. You just had to have been dismissed in a medical setting at least once. That automatic dismissal, that you're not in as much pain as you say you are energy, we know that feeling way too well. People act like this stuff is random. It's not random. There's a whole history behind why medical staff treat Black women like we're built different. Doctors used to experiment on Black women without anesthesia, out in the open, because they created this lie that we didn't feel pain the same way. Then look at Henrietta Lacks, a woman who unknowingly had her cells taken and used to advance medicine worldwide without ever being asked. Her family wasn't even told. So when people pretend they don't understand why Black women have distrust toward the medical system, I just look at them like, are you serious? Look at the patterns. Look at what keeps happening. And I think about what happened to me 2 years ago. That night still sticks with me. I have Crohn's disease, so when things go bad, they go bad. But that night, the pain was different. I was vomiting, I had a fever, my stomach felt like something was tearing from the inside. And on the way to the hospital, I kept passing out in the car, over and over. By the time we pulled up to the ER and I saw how full it was, I had this awful thought: I don't have time for this. I don't have time to sit here and wait for someone to notice something is wrong. I was drifting in and out, and the only thing keeping me alert was the fear that if I let myself go under for too long, I might not wake back up. They eventually called me to the back, and I was still passing out. I dropped one of those little vomit bags because I literally lost consciousness for a second. It slid off my leg onto the floor, and instead of asking if I was okay, the nurse looked at me with this attitude and went, "Did you throw that bag?" Mind you, I hadn't thrown up in the bag. I just had it there in case I needed to vomit, because that was one of my symptoms. I could barely lift my head to answer. After she asked me if I threw the bag, I said no, because that was all the strength I had. I wanted to explain what happened and tell her I was doing everything I could to stay alert, but I physically couldn't talk. And the saddest part is that the look she gave me, that moment where she decided I was a problem instead of a patient, it was familiar. It's a look so many of us recognize immediately. In that ER visit, it turned out to be the beginning, not the end. I was admitted, I needed emergency surgery. My heart stopped during that surgery. I had a heart attack on the table. I woke up in ICU with my ribs feeling like someone had stomped on me. And after all of that, I still had to go to rehab to recover. And through every part of that experience, the mistreatment didn't stop. But that's a whole separate story for another day. I learned something from all of this that I will never forget. Black women should not go to the hospital alone if they can help it. Not even for simple things. Not because we're helpless, but because the system often treats us like our lives aren't urgent. Then, when you're sick, scared, medicated, disoriented, or in pain, you can't advocate for yourself the same way. And doctors and nurses know that. Having someone with you isn't about being dramatic, it's protection. And you need somebody there who is fully alert. Somebody who can speak up if you can't. Somebody who can watch the way staff are treating you. And someone who can say, no, she needs help right now, when your body is failing and you're fading in and out. If I hadn't had someone with me that night, I truly don't know what would have happened. There were moments where I couldn't even hold my own head up. So having someone who could talk to the nurses, take notes, ask questions, push for answers, that's not optional anymore. Whether it's a partner, a friend, a sibling, a neighbor, a family member, having a witness changes everything, because nurses and doctors behave differently when they know someone is watching. So when I heard about the woman in Texas, it brought all of that back for me, because my experience that I just spoke about happened in Texas as well. Her situation was different, but the attitude behind it was the same. Black women are not treated with urgency. We're treated like we're exaggerating until something catastrophic happens right in front of them. And that is why none of these stories surprise us anymore. They just hurt. And here's another thing we need to talk about more openly. You can report these people, and you should. Doctors, nurses, techs, everyone in that building has a license or a certification that can be investigated, and you don't need proof. Your report alone still goes on record. You can file complaints with the state medical board, the nursing board, the hospital administration, and most people don't know this, your insurance company. Insurance companies do not play about patient mistreatment because it affects their liability. If enough patients report the same doctor or nurse, the insurance company can drop them from the network. And once they lose insurance partnership, that's money gone. That's patients gone, that's career impact, pressure, and accountability. This is one of the strongest ways Black women can push harmful practitioners out of the system. One complaint might not change everything, but 20 complaints will. 30 will. Patterns matter, and our voices matter when they're documented. We can't keep thinking we're powerless. These boards exist for a reason. I share this because none of this is random. It's part of a pattern that has been hurting Black women for generations, and talking about it is the first step in breaking that pattern. If you're a Black woman listening to this and you've had an experience like this, or even something smaller that still changed the way you look at medical care, I want you to share your story too. Because when we speak up, it becomes harder for people to pretend these situations are isolated. It becomes harder for the system to ignore us, and it becomes easier for the next Black woman to walk into a hospital and not feel alone. Tell your story in the comments. Tell your truth, because your experience, our collective experiences, deserve to be heard.